Okay, let's get to some shout outs and some questions. I got a really nice email today from a guy named Mark. Hi, Mark. He's in Dallas. His wife, Sarah, is a huge fan. I guess that you've watched, Sarah has watched every episode from the beginning. They lived in Rexburg when all this was happening. This year for Mother's Day, her first Mother's Day, she's a new mom. Mark ordered her a shirt from East Idaho News, and now she is guilty too. So thank you so much. Congrats on your baby too, Sarah and Mark. Appreciate you all watching in Dallas, and it's probably just as warm in Dallas as it is here. Okay, we have some other shout outs. We have P. Barnes from Scotland. Sarah, another Sarah from Midvale, Utah. Thanks, Sarah. Shirley Barnes Fowler from Huntsville, Alabama. Tammy Diambara from Burley, Idaho. Rosemary Fisher from Tampa. Susan Duffy Mance from Royal Oaks, Michigan. Merle Mildred from Canberra, Australia. I've been there. Beautiful. Phyllis Lowe from Kentucky. Iva Hare from Easton, Maryland. Thank you all very much for watching. Also, special shout out to my friend Peggy, another Peggy, who's feeling a bit under the weather. Hope you are feeling much better, Miss Peggy. And to your questions. You all had some really good questions here. Nina, when you are researching a story, Nate, and encounter conflicting information from multiple sources, how do you determine what to trust or prioritize in your reporting? Oh, that's a good question. That happens. Generally, you'll take in all the information and then you'll try to verify it. If someone tells you that something happened that's pretty big, you would try to verify that with someone else, normally an authority, a police officer or a school principal, someone who has the authority, who generally is trustworthy and can give you authentic information. But there's been times I've been fooled. I may have shared this story before. One time I was called to a bus crash, and I got there with my photographer, and there was a bus that had hit a motorcyclist. And it was a school bus. It was right after school. And I was getting ready to go live. And a kid came over, a teenager, and said, I was on the bus. I said, oh, can I interview you? And I interviewed him live on the air. And he told me this crazy story of how they were riding and they hit the motorcyclist and he screamed and this and that. And then about 20 minutes later, the police came over to give us a briefing. And they started off by saying, fortunately, no children were on the bus. And I said, what? They said nobody was on the bus. I got scammed. And I should have verified before I went on the air with this kid. It was breaking news. It was happening. I then went back on the air and apologized for sharing that false information, said no kids were on the bus. So that is an example of where I could have been a little bit more careful. As far as prioritizing or trusting, I think you take all the information you can and you try to determine it. And it's not necessarily us saying it, it's somebody else saying it, but it's important that you give as accurate information as you can. And I always try to do that. And as I said, I've been wrong many a times, but that's what I do. Okay, we have Caitlin. Nate, what did you do on your day off? Were you bored? I wasn't bored. A friend from Idaho was here and we went and had lunch together. And I didn't feel rushed. And it was I'll be honest, the food was not that good. I'm just going to be honest. I won't say the name of the place. It was barbecue, and I think we got warmed up food from last night. It wasn't that good. And I've been to a few other barbecue places in Phoenix that have been amazing. This place, my friend liked the beans. I thought the mac and cheese was okay. I would not recommend it. Anyway, that being said, and then I did laundry, and I went and did a little bit of shopping for some clothes, and then I did some interviews here, as you saw, and I had to run to Best Buy to get some cables for our gear here because whatever's happened, we're having some glitches this time, and I don't know what it is, so hopefully we're fixed. But thanks for asking. I was not bored, but I'm ready to go to court. I don't sit still well. Judy from Manitoba, I'm wondering if the procedure for jurors will change this time, given the drama from the last trial. Nowhere near anyone, at lunch, after the trial, etc. I don't think so. I think that's just how they do it here, Judy. And I think that that's how it's always been. And Maybe I could see perhaps when the trial's over, if they don't want to talk to the media, they send them out another door. Maybe, but I don't know if much else will change. When can the judge say enough is enough? I guess we'll see tomorrow. I guess we'll see if, like David Leroy said a minute ago, if he'll say, all right, I know you can't do jury selection, but your advisors will, and we'll have you join from the jail or something like that. Would be interesting. What's the theory behind why Brandon was shot at? Well, Ames asked this. I think you heard Rich say right there he had $1 million life insurance policy. They wanted money. I think that's the theory, and I think we'll hear that from the prosecutor. Does the jury get paid for their time? If so, how much? Good question, Elizabeth. I think they get like $12 or $13 a day, and then they get reimbursed for mileage, about 70 cents a mile. However, if there is a hardship, they can request additional funding from the state. There is additional jury funding that is available. Do you know what Colby feels like regarding Joseph Ryan's death from Teresa? Colby and I haven't really discussed that on the record as far as I can recall, but I'll have to ask him. I'll have to get his thoughts. He may have discussed it on his channel. I'm just not familiar with it. Has Colby been present for all the trials? Janine asks. He came on and off during the last one. He testified in Lori's first one, but that was it. And then he came at Chad's for the verdict. And I don't remember if he testified in Chad's. I don't think he did. But so he has been to all of the trials, just not the full length of them. Did Lori lose a member of her advisory team from Emily? No, she didn't. And many of you have asked, you've noticed she's been sitting by the male Robert Abernathy. Some days she'll sit by him. Some days she'll sit by Pamela Hicks. And then some days she'll sit by Anna, who's the paralegal. So there's 3 of them, and then her investigator, although we have not seen her investigator much this trial. Granted, we've only been in there like 2 days, so he could probably be there. But as far as I know, they're all still on the case. Will you remind us why a DEA agent is scheduled to be a witness from Denise? Good question. I don't know. I have no idea. There's a thought of maybe drugs were perhaps involved, or maybe there was some testing done. I don't know. We'll see. That should be an interesting part of the trial. Maybe you all have some theories. If so, let me know in the comments below. A couple nights ago, you interviewed a juror from before. Have you any idea if Lori made eye contact with her during the trial, and did she seem to recognize her when this woman attended her other trial as a spectator? Lori doesn't notice when she walks in, her back is to the gallery the whole time. The only time she might notice is if she turns around when she's questioning a witness and looks, which she doesn't do a lot. When she is wheeled out, she does look back. We did make eye contact the other day. She smiled at me, and I believe she made eye contact with this juror briefly. Lori quickly turns away. Lori keeps her head down. She keeps focused on what she's doing, other than the jurors who are in the seat when, they're actually, when she's speaking to them directly. Good questions, everybody. So tomorrow I'll be in court in the morning. I'll do an update in the morning. You can follow me on social media. Here is where I'm at. Nate Eaton Reporter on Facebook, News Nate Now on X, n.eaton on Insta, and then East Idaho News. And that is where I will post updates throughout the day and keep you updated. We'll also be doing updates on eastidahonews.com tomorrow. And on YouTube, if you're here on our YouTube channel, East Idaho News, any video that comes out from the court, we'll post there. And assuming a jury is picked in the morning, if opening statements happen tomorrow afternoon, we'll broadcast that for you. There's a 30-minute delay once that happens, once it starts. But again, I'll keep you posted on that. We'll send out alerts, and we'll be back here tomorrow night, Courtroom Insider. I hope you are too. Thanks for spending your night with me. That sounds a little weird. Thanks for being here tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.